All right, all right, all right. What's up, folks? What's up, man? It is going down. It is going down. This reckless peon is what the uneducated buffoons of America have voted for and have gotten themselves into. But ultimately, man, it is on the Iranians. The Iranians to show the world what you got. Show the world what you got, and we're gonna see how well y'all can stand up. This is a test for the rest of the world. This is also a thing in which what history has shown us with leaders that go about their military actions, their use of military might to go in there and crush other powers, to remove leaders, to pick and choose what they want, to dictate the direction of sovereign nations. Now, this can become a dangerous thing, and it is even a more dangerous thing being we are the culprits of a Nazi type behavior, along with Israel and its years of Nazi-esque behavior and uh, keeping a bullseye or target on their backs. But with the weakness of other nations who are happen to be victims of what these fools have gone about doing across the world and with their enemies and stuff, if you can't do anything, and these are people without a compass, without any kind of soul within them, they give damn about human life. In their minds, they will fucking do anything to program their minds of not shedding a single tear towards the humanity of others. Is it with the fact that you have these type of people have taught themselves that they are a chosen people of God? And if that is the case, then that should be to where people should definitely have a rejection towards a belief in God, if that's what these fools are teaching. How can you believe in a God that has favor for certain type of individuals? Like, that's the ill shit with people who happen to be religious based people, and they go about spewing out this shit to speaking about something oh so powerful, and also being God is someone none of us has ever met. But for these people to create a book and write that in the book is that it's their destiny to go in there and conquer people, that it's their destiny to go into tapping into the resources provided here by this damn planet and developing this shit as ways of destroying people, removing people, and going on conquest of supreme domination of the world. So this thing with this strike, which has led to the death of the Ayatollah, Trump painting this dude as the worst individual in the world and evil. As an American, and any righteous, patriotic American, to deject that fucking bullshit statement, whatever the sentiments of Donald Trump, which aren't the sentiments of American people. Anybody with a mind, anybody with a conscience and a soul knows that all of that shit is false. We ain't seen a goddamn thing in this modern history of Iran doing anything. The most people remember Iran doing is capturing a bunch of white folks in their damn country and holding them hostage, but not taking their lives. And America went about its dramatic responses and Oscar-esque reactions to that shit with the Ayatollah Khomeini, whatever his name was back in the late 70s, that captured these hostages and all this other shit. The failed because I think they went in there and tried to do some failed ass fucking hostage rescue mission and shit. And I think that's where they may have had casualties being, I don't know if they were fatal. I think some of the forced people who tried to go in there were wounded or something, but they failed at that shit. But ultimately, the hostages were released. And that's the most that Iran has ever done to America. And I think America faced the embarrassment of that shit. And now you have this damn deranged fool going in here, probably still speaking on that shit. But as far as Iran doing evil shit, no one in America can speak on that shit. No one in Israel can speak on that shit. The cause of threats to these people, of course they're going to threaten you guys. This country has become amongst the type of leadership y'all vote in. Let me say that, because these fools don't represent everybody in America. The type of leadership that y'all vote for. You motherfuckers out here are idiotic, retarded. This fool can do this bait and switch on y'all, the trickery, because guess what? Votes are necessary. Votes are needed to gain access to power in this country. And this is one of the things that has shown me to be proven right about how slow and how out of touch and how unknowledgeable people are about a country they're from. And the reason why immigrants and foreigners shall replace you. And that's what I seen in this thing I just come from. I come from goddamn debate program for middle schoolers and shit. And everybody in there who is at the top of this shit, winning awards, are foreigners. There aren't really Americans in that shit. And this just ain't even a black thing. You got nothing but the Asians who take American education extremely serious. And it's engineering, it's technology, very serious. The Indians who take that shit very serious, as well as the Africans. But as far as this spoiled, lost, deranged, divisive ass American who has fallen to the wayside, that a punk ass dude like Trump can come in there and talk and all this other shit. As you see the people putting in the work, replacing you, and he talks this American first shit. But the only way to make things American first is to trick you into going in to vote. When many of these people talking about the vote don't count, they pick and choose who the president. It's all a puppet show. And this motherfucker showing you first-handed as the wake up to everything you believed in. Now you're ready at retarded ass got to make the excuses and then hide your hand of you never ever believing in that shit. And now this fool goes in here going about running a muck outside of this fucking country. Nothing about this fool presidency has been a focus about the American people. He's caught up in everybody else's business. Or maybe he's caught up in the strings of Benjamin Netanyahu, which ultimately, or this shit has the potential to backfire on all these fools. And then I like the response of the goddamn Iran and targeting many of the other Arab nations who have laid in bed on their backs with their legs spread. And that being Saudi Arabia, which I wonder how this is going to affect the boxing side of things, being that Turkey is taking over and shit. They've targeted Dubai. So Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Qatar, Bahrain, where they have the Navy bases and shit. And a couple of these people who have laid on their backs, legs spread, for many of the white Western nations. As many of these Arabs have become almost white them goddamn selves. Many of the Arabs have turned white they goddamn self. That dollar has turned them into prostitutes of the European world. They have laid on their backs as cream pie hoes and goddamn, what they call them suits them Arab be wearing? Oh, let me turn this fan on. What's them little, what they call, where they wear? No, not the shit on their head, but the little robes and shit. What are the little garb shit they wear? They have become cream-filled whores for that American dollar and whatever the French and all the motherfuckers have as currency. Them fools are laid on their backs. Hold on, let me see. My daughter hit me. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, but that's what they have become. They have become prostitutes. And so now you find Iran responding, not in kind, to how these fools have sold out their brother for the white man, the trickery of the white man. And the fact that down the line, and if they are to go about thinking independently, thinking about their own future and progress, they will become the target of the button of a white nation. And that is really what it is. And to get ahead of that shit, these fools are responding. But the response, not sure where to rate that shit on the military scale of shit, and being that this is only the first day. But the fact, we're going to see how much they represent for their supreme leader who trumping them to knock the fuck off. And we see what are the retaliations to that. Now we see what happens in America. We have to see what happens in our market. We're already dealing in the economy that has been hard on many of the citizens of America. Now what pain at the goddamn counter do you face as a result of this shit? Now how much can Iran shake up the global economy? Being that much of the world is dependent on the shit that comes up out of there, being oil Everything else that is a byproduct of oil, not just gasoline for your fucking cars, but oil has many uses, and that's why it's such a sought after goddamn commodity. That's what it's placed such a value on that shit, is that then there everything you use comes from petroleum and shit. Not just your gasoline. Gasoline, a byproduct of that shit. Your paints, who knows, probably lubricants, all that shit comes from that shit. And so now, how much does shit rise? But gas can really affect us. We have the use our vehicles. We depended on it to get from point A to point B. What are going to be the jumps? What are going to be the price jumps? What else do we depend on? What else do they block? What else do they block? Being that shipping is so vital to the damn world economies. And then we've been having ships taken out of the damn water, boarded by other people's military. So it's like, what is going to be the response to that shit? What is going to be response? So that's going to be the crazy thing. So we're gonna see how badass Iran is. And I would love to see this shit escalate like a motherfucker so people can wake up. How big does the threat of a nuclear situation, which I've been stating for at least the last 5-6 years, that one of these damn nations, and we're getting close to this shit because this peon is going to use one of these fucking weapons. It is definitely on the brink. So you got this massive, still got this scaled up war over in Russia. But because Trump has gotten into the front of shit, he shuts out to where there's no media coverage of the shit. So the world is left in the dark in this shit. And then hear this fool talking about his reasoning behind that shit. And when he comes out, and the more you let Trump speak, this shit ain't got nothing to do with goddamn a nuclear threat. Because Iran has never been a nuclear threat. Korea is not a nuclear threat. America and the rest of the European nations, especially Israel under Netanyahu, are the biggest threats to the damn world. And it's just simple as that. And to tell nations who can have a nuclear weapon and who can't is one of the biggest threats, one of the biggest open threats to the damn rest of the damn world. Even when we go and look at the South African situation, the situation that just laughed the fuck at, to where when you look at the nuclear capable countries, it has a race component to it. And that component being white. Outside of India, India is in check. India is like the brain of a Sambo, of a fucking straight up coon. Is that the British still have an effect over these people, but the nations with the damn nukes are white nations. And the fact that South Africa, which is a crazy situation, that used to be the only African nation, being it is a once white ran fucking nation, is one of the only nations to ever get rid of their nuclear programs, their nuclear weapons, because black folks came into power in that damn country. So it's like nations to be able to remain sovereign, to be able to defend their borders, defend their countries, defend their assets, which would be their people, the intellectual side of shit, and also to defend their resources and shit. You got to scale up your fucking military because the threat is white. The threat ain't nothing else. But even when you look at the Arabs nowadays, even Iran, them motherfuckers look white. Fuckers look white to the motherfucker. And then Silvestri, let me say what's up to y'all in the comments. Silvestri says, what's going on? Salute. SF City Slick in the building. Salute. And then Silvestri says, Trump fucked up big time. Said, we're going to see. We're going to definitely see. Because if anything, Iran, they need to go after Trump. Don't come bombing the Vegas Strip. Don't come bombing. Go exactly where Trump at. You want to target some shit, hit right there in Washington, D.C. and go hit motherfucking Mar-a-Lago and leave it at that. We don't need y'all coming in here throwing all them bombs over here like y'all doing Israel and Bahrain and all that shit. Go exactly where this little shit-stained motherfucker at. Go find out where Melania at and where Melania with that little piece of shit kid she done had and the other little piece of shit kids Trump got that seem to distance themselves from you. Don't even see them punk ass kids anymore. But that's what you do, Iran. You don't come after the rest of the Americans. We ain't got nothing to do with that shit. Trump don't represent us. He's a motherfucker who got voted in by the rest of the little dumbass motherfuckers of this country who now all of a sudden don't want nothing to do with him. Who now all of a sudden don't want nothing to do with him because guess why? It wasn't no America first. You wasn't going to get shit back. The most he talked about giving shit back to motherfuckers was no tax on tips, and niggas thought that shit was some goddamn important shit. Niggas who don't even get tips thought that was some of the greatest shit they heard. And even the people in the tax tipping industries, guess what? Guess what's the fucked up part about the no tax on tips stupid ass shit? And they even use that as a selling point through the campaign. Is he has fucked the goddamn what would you call that shit? Then what do they call that sector of the goddamn economy? People get tips, like that's in the service industry, but whatever it is that a lot of people don't go out and spend the money like that. A lot of people aren't going out to enjoying themselves, to dine, maybe where you get it, to go out to bars to where you typically tip people like that. A lot of the tips have dried the fuck up. People aren't tipping like that because why? The economy is starting to constrict and shit. So no, nobody's doing that. So all that tax on tip was the most he was going to ever do for a fucking American. Everything else is for the rich folks, their ability to create AI systems to where they don't got to pay nobody shit. And that was that. That was fucking that. But as far as this motherfucker, America first, fooled you motherfuckers. Fooled y'all. America is him. That must be a code name for him. This fool, your motherfucker is dumb as fuck buying into that shit. If you went to a poll and you voted for this fool. And then Matt F says, hey ma'am, says how's it going? Or he meant, hey man, says how's it going? Everybody, salute. And then Matt Warren says fuck Donald Trump. Absolutely, fuck that fool. And I was listening to the dedication of the Nipsey Square. I was listening to them dedicate the corner of Nipsey, and the dude who was from the I think from the LA City Council or some shit. He told that fool Trump. He like fuck Donald Trump. Hold on, let me see what my daughter want. Hold on, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Let me pause here real quick. Let me play a quick clip. What's up, Ray?
It's so funny.
Man, you reading like you slow, cuz.
I can go twice as high.
Nah, it just show up different. Y'all just went live before, it look different. What's going down? It's a lot of comments on here. Cuz can't read. Who can't read? Derek Harris. Who is that?
Take a look. It's in a book.
Screenshot SS that shit for me, please. What do SS mean? Can somebody help me with that? I don't know what SS mean. Get off here. Get off here. I know I'm here. I'm here.
All right, I'm back, folks. Yeah, I was seeing my kid. My phone glitching. That's what's going on. My damn phone's sending out like old ass text messages. So that's probably old Slurpee machine Patel and his little degenerate ass fucking agency that he run that he's gonna be kicked out of, probably hacking my shit. So who knows? But fuck him and fuck anybody else who follows that bitch ass immigrant. And Donald Trump as well. Fuck them. But going back into this shit about people voting for this piece of shit motherfucker to put him in power, and now through the use of the presidency, he can go about doing all this other shit. Like I say, if anybody looking to retaliate against America, do not fuck with Americans. Americans don't rock with that shit. You go right after Donald Trump. You go says don't go after no motherfucking he said, no, I don't know what. No, about the comments ain't blocked. I don't got blocks on comments. If you put in a cuss word, you got to change it. You got to be smarter than YouTube and put a symbol for the words. You got to put a symbol in there for some of the words. So back into this shit with the enemies of America looking to fucking retaliate. Do not target Americans. We don't fuck with Donald Trump. And even the dumbass idiots who voted for that fool, you go right after where this motherfucker is, just like he did with the goddamn Ayatollah Khomeini. They did all the surveillance, got all this inside of where he at. You do the same shit with that motherfucker. You go find him. If y'all have all this hate for America, y'all don't hate America. You hate Donald Trump. And and we support you motherfuckers going after that bitch. Go after Patel too. He a bitch too. Nigga just popped up out of nowhere. And then Andrew Charles says the Ayatollah said a few days ago says that he knew he will be killed. Says it had already made arrangements for a power transfer, and they just gonna be nothing's gonna stop. And this would be always a dumb thing with Americans who go about killing a certain leader, and then some other wilder motherfucker steps into his role. Like that's the same thing here. If a leader here is taken out, there's somebody, and that's the way you got to have a complex web within the system of your nation's government. Is to where it can be overthrown. There's layers to this shit. There's certain motherfucking what do you call that shit? People in the chain of this shit. 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. And then Matthew says apparently Iran state media is claiming that the U.S. and Israel says end tonight. Says not sure what that means. Says it might be just Iranian rhetoric. Yeah, that be the nations. They be talking that tough shit. They be sounding tough. I want to see some tough shit. And then they can't talk. They gonna do anything to goddamn America when they got all them big ass Navy ships out there in the water. They got all these big, massive Navy ships that is slow as fuck compared to a missile, but all type of defense shit on it. If they ain't touch one of these motherfuckers, then I think Iran them need to tone down that shit a little bit. Iran them may need to tone this shit down. If you ain't touched the ship out there, or maybe you guys are gassing up some of the more special weapons they got. Maybe they gassing and preparing, because sometimes when you're dealing with some of that ballistic shit, it takes a while for that shit to be fueled up, for that shit to be prepped, for its computer systems to be guided and programmed and all that shit. That who knows? Maybe tomorrow. I just heard a plane. That shit down there packed me. I was about to say, oh no, Lord, them niggas ain't sending no goddamn cruise missile to this motherfucker. Like, man, imagine waking up and them niggas Iran hitting this motherfucker. Man, y'all better, we gonna do something to Trump. Get this bitch the fuck out of it. Because everybody who paying attention to this shit is worried. Like, what the fuck do Iran got? What the hell do Iran got? Iran probably ain't got shit. And then, so like I said, they ain't touching none of them boats in that water. They ain't doing shit. It says gas is going up. Your gas is most definitely, like I say, the one at the corner, that shit just spiked 10 cents. And been all of his jumps, usually for years, even like the last 10 years, usually you find like little incremental jumps. You may see a 5 cent jump here. They had a crazy jump of like 19 cents or some shit. It might even been 20 cents at this motherfucker. Then they began these 10 cent jumps. So I think today the gas price, but I don't think I ain't never seen gas price. That must have changed Friday. I just didn't pay attention to it. But that gas is 10 cents above where it was the day before. And then the one on the other side that I use, a Chevron, is always like a few days after that, a few days after the Arco gas station jumps up. And then as Charles says, ironically, he says the first nuclear armed Muslim nation is probably going to be us. It's probably going to be UK. Wait, what you mean? Says, ironically, he says the first nuclear armed Muslim nation is probably going to be the UK. Is that a typo? And then Matthew says I think Iran is headed to civil war. Says this was set up by Israel. Says because they got videos of Trump with little girls. Says to make a regime change in Iran. And that regime change shit ain't gonna happen. There's a bunch of younger generation, the college kids who are looking for, maybe they need the country to modernize. Maybe the Ayatollah them are just out of touch. Is you probably got these dudes receiving westernized education. Some of them have been to America. They see what America, they don't really know the gist of what America is. Like Americans who go through things. Foreigners get here and America is just the land of so many opportunities. It's beautiful. They come over here, foreigners receive, especially foreigners from these countries that have medical backgrounds, engineering backgrounds. They come over here and they get these jobs, and America is just everything that one can dream of. And then they get sent back as their visas fucking expire, go back into their countries, and they like, no, there's so much potential, what we can change, what we can make. We're the young leaders, and then you got people like the Ayatollah in them who are just slow to make change. They're outdated. Religion trumps everything, and if it's they'll base things over whatever they're teaching or whatever they say God says, and God ain't say none of this shit. It's just these niggas making it up. That's my knock with this religious shit. Everybody talking about what God wants and God this and that. God wouldn't have created you to have man to rule over you and tell you what God is saying. Like, get the fuck out of here. And so that's what those young kids want. And it's just a battle of fucking age gaps. But what is America's role in interfering with that shit? Who the fuck is America to interfere with that shit? But no, this is Trump playing tough and really wanting to see how tough it is. Because once again, Trump don't got to put a child on the front line to none of this shit. Trump ain't got to put a child on a ship for none of this shit. Trump ain't got to put a child in a helicopter for none of this shit. He ain't got to put a kid in the airplane for none of this shit. He ain't got to put a kid in the tank. He ain't got to put a kid in the Humvee. His kid's going to sit there, go to golf courses, be the little motherfucking uneducated, untalented, worthless, privileged, welfare recipient motherfuckers that they have been in this country. And while lower tier, lower class, uneducated American motherfuckers cheer on them to have their successes. Man, I want Trump. Where Trump rank in the most riches in the world? Like, niggas be cheering on who gonna be the richest in the world and all this other shit. Poor than a motherfucker cheering on these motherfuckers who just buy and sell, push buttons on the stock market and gain all the wealth of this motherfucker and don't raise a finger doing shit. That shit is not cool. That shit is not cool. America is too effective a country to allow its wealth to be transferred into the hands of people who don't do absolutely nothing and then can make decisions. Because in this war, the only losers is going to be poor motherfuckers. As simple as that. And then Matthew says I'm in the text. Let me see. What the fuck? Can I pick her up? But then make sure this ain't an old text. Because a bunch of old text is coming through. Let's see. Hold on. Give me 1 second, folks. All right, back into it. And he says I'm in the tax tipping industry. Says, and my tips are still taxed anyway. Says, because I do gig work. Says, it's a stupid gimmick. Says, and all these door dashers says voted for Trump. Says, and still got their tips taxed. Yeah, they stupid. And I don't like dealing with the tax industry motherfucker. I don't like going out because I don't believe in tipping for eating. I don't believe in tipping for a delivery. I don't buy into that delivery shit. The people who do delivery shit, they look like shit. They be smelling like shit. They don't provide service for shit. And they got paid to bring that shit. But I don't knock the industry. I just don't believe that I should have to tip a motherfucker. I believe in companies needing to pay people for what the value they bring to the fucking company. And I think it's bullshit that industry that wage scales are from companies are allowed to be fucking in place. It should be against the law for companies not to fucking it should be against the law that companies underpay people. Like, I don't rock with that shit. And I like I say, I'm a major boycotter without having to follow groups. If I don't rock with some shit, I don't rock with it. I don't rock with that shit. And that's the one thing you won't find me going out. I'll take a bitch. I'm the type of nigga to take a bitch to McDonald's if she don't say nothing. Outside of that, man, I don't push that line of wanting to dine or learn how to cook. When motherfuckers gonna start learning how to cook again? When are people gonna make cooking and eating together at home a fucking thing? Like, you don't find that shit in nothing, man. I used to have bras that cook, and I used to be shocked the bitches can cook because nobody does that shit. Everybody think you got to go out to impress and spend money to dine at some old bullshit ass, unseasoned ass restaurant and shit. Let me see. Oh, hold on. Give me 1 second. But yeah, so that's what I was saying. Nobody does the things that used to be a thing of the of old generations of past long gone and shit. But then you go into where this fool, the most Trump wanted to do for Americans is to have the where they didn't take tax tips away from them. But in that industry, people are fucking spending less. People don't have the money to be taxed and shit. That was the one thing that bugged me when I went to DC. Is the fact them niggas are storing that shit. That's why I didn't eat much. When people ask about our trip to the East Coast and did we eat this here? Did we eat this? I'd go skinny if I lived in DC and all that shit. Cause I wouldn't want to go out and eat. Nigga, I ain't about to tip your motherfucking ass. And then them niggas, no, the niggas put the shit in the price. I looked in this shit mad as a motherfucker, seeing that gratuity shit in the damn thing. Man, you better have this company to start paying people. Like, so the consumer, that shit is bad as a fucking tariff. So you gonna force a consumer to have to throw in some shit because this fucking little chump ass company who is aligned with some political motherfucker that has been able to do this shit is the wildest shit in history to me. That shit is the wildest shit in history. Like, you gonna tell a motherfucker that they gotta pay you this and pay you that. Like, hell to the nah, man. I don't buy into that shit. Now, if the service banging and I'm just in there being nilly-willy with shit, then yeah, I'll do some tipping shit. Outside of that shit, man, I ain't with that telling me I gotta give money to some shit. I already spent this money to buy the shit I want, and now I gotta pay because the niggas have made it. Fucking shit. So the gratuity gonna cover the cost incrementally to pay off the light bills, this and that, and the worker only get a micro portion of the shit. Like, you talking about some fuck you over type hustles is what America's become because of motherfuckers that look like the Trumps with the mindsets of the Trump who have dominated over this country. If anybody needs a revolution like the Iranians, it's fucking America. And then Trump wanted to participate in that shit with his bitch ass. Andrew Charles says his new channel sucks. Says sucks. Reg says none of my comments says get through. And then your ass wasn't on this motherfucker for the longest because you didn't like the way I was clowning Trump. You was a Trump knee walker, Andrew Charles. I wasn't expecting to see you on this mug, but you realize I'm always right. Everything I done said about this bitch ass president that you got mad and was crying about is fucking true. Andrew Charles got mad. Wait, what you get mad at? When I was laughing at that bitch Charlie Kirk, or was it when I laughed at the bitch Donald Trump getting blasted at? And then guess what? Guess what's the trend of me laughing at that shit? Is the fact that every time Trump get his ass shot at, it's a white boy. Motherfuckers always right in this motherfucker. What it is people hate hard truths. People hate the hard truth. And then the way people will try to flip this shit, because they won't call white shit racist, they'll be you being anti-Semitic. And like I tell people, ain't no anti-Semitism here in America. That shit was done by Europeans. You see this growing trend? Everything has an attachment to Europe. What else is it? And being anti-Semitic, you're being racist. No, just being someone that tells a fucking unadulterated, unconventional truth. But salute to my brother Andrew Charles being back over here. But if you're using cuss words, you gotta add little symbols to the writing and shit. Symbols that. Damn, how many times she says she won't respond to me? Hold on. This girl on the whole other side of damn Vegas and want me to come get her and shit. Salute to my cousin Deuce Time in the building. And this kid talking about come pick her up. This the crazy shit with, because it'd be so hard for me to say no to these motherfuckers. And so they can ask me some shit. Her mother and where she at is like a 5-minute drive from her mom's house. She texted me to come get her. It take me all of fucking almost 30 minutes to drive way over there. Hell nah. And then I'll be speeding to get over there. It's dark. You can't even see the highway patrol cars. It's the other thing. I'll be definitely going over these low ass speed limits out here and shit. And then that's the other thing. They been posting all these signs about percentages, showing the percentages of fatalities if you driving over the speed limit is a slow ass 65. They showed the what they put on this board, driving over 70, is it 70? No, it may say 80 miles an hour it might even been 75, has led to 151% of fatal crashes, or the crashes are fatal, 151% risk of fatal accident. If you driving not 80 and more, you run a risk of 191 percent risk of a fatal car accident. Like, no, car accidents that are fatal and car accidents in general can happen at any speed, and they happen from reckless fucking behavior. That speed shit is not a fucking factor. The speed becomes a factor on impact. That's the only thing. But driving faster ain't what causes fucking accident. I don't know who comes up with these retarded ass statistics from these incompetent motherfuckers in America that dictate laws and standards in this country. And this is why, as an American, I do not like this old whitewash bullshit that we have in this country. And the fact that even some of these stupid ass black people have this thing of being led by white folks. Because anytime a black politician or any black scholarly motherfucker is running up for some shit, it's some old in the way ass black motherfucker want to throw a microscope out that they ain't never used in their fucking life to want to put a black motherfucker up under who ain't done no damage in this damn nation. Shit is crazy to me. But like I say, it's too much incompetence in America. And like I say, that speed limit shit is bullshit. It's just another way for them to collect money on stopping motherfuckers, violating them on fucking some infraction on the damn road. But yeah, 65 and all that shit is too low. Wait, did I read that one? Oh wait, yeah. Matthew says I don't think regime change in Iran says it's possible. Says bad logistics. Says there's still too many loyalists for the current regime. Says, and we have to send a lot of ground troops. Says to us to pull it off. It's the same thing with Iraq. How that shit went about. America ain't make no effective change in there. What you have America has done is turn its back on Iraq. They couldn't fix that shit. So let this new leader we put in place under this little fringe ass fucking government and take over like it's all America's been doing. And they have the audacity to call these other motherfuckers wicked. When some of these wicked motherfuckers they have put in place, that shit is the craziest shit. They find the most white ass kissing motherfucker, put them in place because they have a development of weapons. They go into the fucking earth, find whatever is the most explosive, most reactive and dangerous chemicals in the system, find a rocket system to put it on to go use it on other motherfuckers. Is the craziest shit ever. Shit is wild. SSC says eating out says the number one way most people spend their extra money. Several studies, government and private, says show people can't afford to eat out nowhere near as much, says because of the economy. Yeah, the economy is woo. This economy is beat, homie. Trump has fucked this economy over. And this war, as Iran continues to bomb shit, disrupt the movement of shit, boy, prices gonna shoot the fuck up so goddamn high. Just let this oil shit not get to where it need to go. Let this oil not get where it needs to go. And then you start fucking up production from other countries, because that's what they're gonna start doing is bombing, because they bomb in Middle East and Saudi Arabia and all that shit. Let them start hitting them oil fields in Saudi Arabia and all that other shit. Hidden in their tourist spots, to where now they start having this is the thing what's crucial with them attacking Dubai and all that shit, because those are people who start opening their damn legs and on their knees sucking off white folks, is they start hitting the tourist spots, the airport, and now the European with dollars in their fucking accounts no longer want to travel that shit, don't feel safe. And even after all this shit over, they still may not feel safe, just like the impact September 11 had on a lot of people for a long time. And the fear of flying and traveling and shit, that shit comes back. They don't go into Dubai. They don't go into Saudi Arabia. They're afraid to go over there. They feel the threats of Iran, the potential Iran doing some more shit. And so now does that lead to where to try to stabilize that shit? Does Trump and them need to scale up its bombing and the strategic bombing? And now America will need to send troops into this motherfucker. So now we get ourselves engaged in some more shit. Israel needs to send troops into that shit. And it says, and then Matthew says, chain of command. Through Hill says countries with nukes. Says Russia got 5,459. US is 5,200. China 600. France 290. UK 225. India 180. Pakistan 170. Israel 90. North Korea 50. And then see, that's the crazy thing. That's the crazy thing with all them white nations with these nukes and shit. And then Andrew Charles says Iran can't hit one of our carriers. Yeah, see, that's what I think. I don't think they got capabilities while they talking they're gonna deal a crushing blow, unless they got shit that American intelligence don't know about. Maybe they have had that secret of a goddamn program going on over there that they have some shit that can hit. SS says Iran don't have anything says that can reach us. No ICBMs says, but they can reach those bases in the region. And then I doubt Russia get that far involved in that shit. And I guarantee China won't get that far involved in that shit. As long as America stay over in their place. But then maybe it'd be like how America and the rest of them set back as Hitler start going about his course of things. Does it lead to where China like, nah, we gonna have to start stepping in on this shit. We gonna have to start stepping in on this shit because we can't sit back too long before we find them right there on our shores and shit. And they may have to have that approach that America had in World War II. And then Matthew F says I'm not speaking in absolute. Says I meant that hypothetically. Says if they did, says that's how we respond. And he says to clarify. He says imagine if these pro-war politicians were forced to send their own sons to the front line. Says a lot would be different. Yeah, a lot of them you wouldn't see that shit. You don't even see that shit in soldiers. Like I say, I always go back to where I seen a privilege, the way privilege work. And they say what you can't do, how they won't let you in the military. Because in the military, they used to be like, you couldn't be tattooed up. We had this one white dude in our unit who was tatted up. Like he came out the Hells Angels. He tattooed mine. I went in the military in 99. So it was before tattoos became this super popular thing like people got. This dude got tats all up and down his leg, all on his arm. And mine, we do PT every fucking morning. So he didn't have PTs that cover that shit, especially in the summers. And so this fool, let me see. So you want to do this? Hold on. This girl, oh my God. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me call this girl mom for her. Talking about come get her. I ain't doing that shit. Hold on 1 second, folks. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Yeah, my bad, folks. I'm back. Hold on. Yeah, they ain't tripping. There ain't no goddamn way I'll be driving over there. But I'll fuck around and would end up doing that shit. He says, imagine, about them sending their son. So back to that dude and about the privilege these motherfuckers had. Hold on. God damn it. All right, so back to it. So back to the thing with the damn privileged soldier. So this fool tatted all the way up, all this other shit. I know I was looking, I can't speak for other people in my unit, but we looking like how this motherfucker was allowed and he got all these tats and all this shit all over him and shit. Anytime we went into the hard parts of our basic training and shit, because of who he was the son of a high-ranking NCO, a command sergeant major and shit. His father would pop up, pull him from training. I'm talking about every time we had hard parts of our basic training, this scumbag's father was there to pull him out of that shit. And so imagine with rich ass little fucking politician kids what they do. Matter of fact, we had a dude who was this a little spoiled ass dude. This motherfucker get kicked. He didn't even get a dishonorable discharge. This some other privilege. This is why I used to be like, I didn't play that shit with white folks in the military. This white dude, matter of fact, it was one white dude who was in my unit. This motherfucker wasn't even at Fort Hood for a fucking month before he get kicked out. Because when I get out, when I get out of basic, we get 30 days off. I spend all my 30 days at home. This motherfucker go to the unit. He was always a white dude who know what kind of background. He probably came from an upper middle class background, act like a spoiled ass kid. He get the base. He in there getting caught up trying to fit in with the guys who've been in there. They drink a lot in that motherfucker. He steals his roommate's car. He steals this dude's car, flips this fucking car. This dude just got a car. He steals this shit, trying to go see a girl. He drunk, flips this dude's car in the ditch, abandons the car like he ain't do shit, walk back to the damn barracks, and I think he played like he didn't know nothing about it. Think somehow they figured out it was him. This motherfucker go AWOL. So when I see this fool, when they finally bring his ass back, he ain't even arrested. He back in the motherfucking barracks. They allowed this motherfucker to stay in there. He had to stay away from this dude. This nigga in there drinking, getting drunk. While they about to chapter him out, he ain't even getting disarmed, discharged. This nigga get like some other than honorable type shit because he's a little spoiled white kid. It was another white kid. Wait, did I know this kid? Yeah, I think I did. I think one of the base or one of the other homies I think I knew him from. But this white kid had hacked into his unit's computer system and shit, and went in there and changed shit and whatever the fuck he did. When he get caught and they blew, this shit was about blowing up into a big ass thing. This dude was a kid of where his parents worked for. I think his parents either worked for they were from Virginia. He wasn't originally from there, but they live in there. I think his dad or mom was in the CIA. One of them was in some other shit. This fool had been in his battalion's fucking computers hacking some shit. And somehow they get alerted on that shit or whatnot. That shit should have been some old national intelligence shit, this and that. That motherfucker ain't do nothing but get chaptered out. And that shit don't fall because of the type of background and class these white dudes. I got stories like a motherfucker come out that military shit and why it was certain shit and fuck with. I used to tell them whatever white boys can do, I'm gonna do. Don't say a fucking thing to me. That's why I was telling the story of it earlier, where I'll be like, I see white officers, I wouldn't salute them. I'll walk by, and that's why I had the instant where that one officer walked by, and they said, "Nigga, we gonna turn your ass back around. We're gonna do this shit again. You gonna salute me, motherfucker." But like I say, it's a lot of this bullshit that you see. And then Andrew Charles says politically, says the growing Muslim population in England has had a consistently growing influence of. Oh yeah, I can agree with you on the immigrant shit, but Indians ain't Muslim. And he says growing influence over there. It says more than people realize. Says and it's only growing. And then and Picasso says Trump is on the roll, ain't he? Says I'm not looking at everything he's doing. Says I'm looking at what the White House is sliding through the cracks. And the Thrill Hill says American imperialism. Says that's what this country does. Absolutely. It's gonna get to a point to where people can't be like everybody hates America and everybody this and that. You fools, these are wealthy pieces of shit have created the dynamic. And to be honest, these people around the world shouldn't hate the average American citizen unless they got to vet the American citizen. Because there's some pieces of shit ass Americans who support this shit. And they'd be the same pieces of shit who want to go to these people who they talk about countries. Ain't that some shit? They talk all this ill shit about other people's countries and then be the little funky ass motherfuckers over there. Like, you can't make this shit up with these pathetic motherfuckers. That's why, man, come on. And then Matthew says the tip is a bribe for the dashers because the company doesn't pay. And then that's why I wouldn't dare do that door. And then I'll be seeing some of the DoorDash people. I wouldn't not to judge people like that, but I don't trust people around my food. I already don't be wanting food. Like I be having like females that be wanting to cook for me shit. So what I look like doing DoorDash? If I ain't around a chick, why she like a chick can't make me a plate like that. I gotta be with her and shit. That's just me. I'm like a Fidel Castro ass dude because I done been around life and experienced so much scandalous shit from motherfuckers. And not so much of people doing it to me, but in my observation of watching how scandalous motherfuckers can be, I don't trust people to do that shit. And so therefore, I'd be like, if I ain't around abroad and we eating together, don't make me a plate. I don't want none of that shit. A broad don't need to serve me. A broad don't have to cook for me. I've been taught all that shit. It ain't much I demand from a chick. I don't control no chick. Nothing. I live by a real player ass rule. And some people think it's player to have their chick serve them. I'm not with that shit. I don't want that shit. I don't want a bitch mad at me. She want to spit in my shit. None of that. Like, hell no. Keep me safe. Keep me safe. Hold on. Let me see something she says in the morning. No, she. Let me see. Why is she trying to leave her friend? All right, she on the way. And then Fresh BX in the building, salute. He says I don't believe in tipping, says for eating. Says I don't believe in tipping for delivery. Hell no, I don't. Oh, you was quoting what I said. Oh, yeah, I don't believe in that shit. I don't. I believe in companies. I believe in companies need to pay people. Companies need to pay people and pay people for what they're fucking worth. Not to have customers come in there and spend all this money on overpriced ass fucking food, and then you pay the wages of the employee to supplement what these damn companies are giving these people. And then this is high priced ass places that have this tipping shit going on. And then Lyson Cletus says only a cheapskate says complain about gratuities. No, only an ignorant motherfucker that supports the annihilating of the American system that fails to pay people who actually deserve to be paid, will support that. And that shows you exactly, Lyson Cletus. You are a fool to buy into whatever rich people present to you, and therefore you are a slave-minded Negro. You probably are super religious as well, because those are the people who buy into anything that rich people, because rich people present religion to you. Rich people are the ones who present this Christianity, this Catholic shit, and they don't believe in none of that shit, nor do they attend that shit. They attend it when poor folks and the lower educated people begin to like fall in their membership and all this other shit, that they'll start presenting, I accumulate all this wealth through my praising of God. God ran it down on me. No, they got it by stupid ass poor motherfuckers buying anything rich people present to them. Like, how about you go out? We need workers. I want to open this restaurant, but I don't want to pay the nigga cooking this shit. And I don't want to pay the motherfucker bringing it back to go put it at your table. How about you, stupid motherfucker? I mean, my loyal, honorable fucking customer. How about you pay for the food and you also pay the motherfucker bringing it? How does that sound to you? All right. Oh, yeah, anything for you, sir. Yes, I am nothing but a motherfucking peasant. I would definitely pay his wage and pay for this overpriced food to help put all this money in your fat ass pockets, and while you give the shit that fall out to everybody else in this establishment. That's what you support. So, nigga, I'm just too smart to say that I'm a gratuity loving motherfucker or a tip loving ass dude. Hell fucking no. You niggas can buy into that shit. I won't. And then and the Lyson Clear says you make us color folks look bad. No, this is for white folks, because I'm speaking about Americans as me being American, white folks, Latino folks, and all these other folks. Because you notice that when you go into, because this shit is some weird ass shit and retarded ass shit, that when Asians had brought companies food industry over here, they didn't buy and build on for that shit. I wonder where that tip shit started. Asians come over here until they get into the high scale shit. Then they create restaurants to where they be wanting tips and shit. That's like the only time I ever went to Benny Hanna's. Benny Hanna's lost me as a customer over the day I go get changed, because I was like, I came out here for my birthday. We didn't spend down there $100 and whatever amount of money it was, maybe even close to $200. I'm like, yeah, let me get change for this 20. The lady gonna tell me, I'm looking, I give her the money to like give me change. This bitch put that motherfucker in her little thing and just close it. And I'm looking like, I need change. She's like, oh, no, tip, this tip. I said, man, you don't give me my motherfucking goddamn money. Like, I ain't about to tip you shit. I didn't spend all this fucking money, was about to be nice because I'm not a tipping motherfucker, and was gonna give you $10 out of this shit. Like, I ain't about to fucking, you tell me what the fuck I'm gonna tip you. Like and then the food wasn't even all that shit. I don't like that Benihana shit. It wasn't a bunch of food on that shit. It was for fucking regular Chinese ass. That's all Benihana's is, a Chinese food spot. Panda Express with niggas flipping your food and doing all this unnecessary shit with it. When then you got to sit with a bunch of other motherfuckers you don't know. Like the fuck out of here. Man, I don't go to that shit. That's the shit they can sell to broads. Broads we want to be entertained by that shit because they don't know how to cook no more. And they just nigga do the same little shit, pour grease in an onion and light the bitch and ooh, a volcano. Hey, get the fuck. I'm too smart for that stupid ass shit. Like, man, come nigga too smart. I'm glad to be too smart for stupid ass shit. I may do dumb shit, but niggas still smart. And then, but nah, y'all niggas can be bent on that dumb ass fucking tipping shit and gratuities like foods and shit. And then and the Picasso says what's going on in America, says because as we all know, says they know we watching them and they need distractions. It ain't gonna distract nobody. Don't stop the courts from still doing shit, Congress from still doing the interviews, and the fact that people still gonna pay attention to this shit. Matthew S says I cook. It's only picking up shit because the dumbass did it on the weekend. So there's really no news coverage with the courts and testimony from Congress. So the war thing is the thing to pay attention to. It'll die off. And then Matthew S says I cook at home too. Says that's the real. Says that, yeah, you got to. Like all this motherfucker, everything about like going to dine and this and that and trying to impress motherfucker. Come on, man. That shit wild. Bougie Barry says I love Benihana. Says, but I don't tip either. Yeah, you shouldn't have to tip. That motherfucker wanted tips. That old overpriced ass Panda Express. Like, fuck that shit. License Clear says some workers actually throw hands on people. Says that don't tip. Says it's their only way of getting paid. Of course. Now let's go into why they will feel that way and who they should actually throw hands at. Can we get an answer of who the workers should actually put hands on? How about you give me a V? I like to buy a vowel. No, a B ain't a vowel, but let me get a B. Let me get a vowel, a O, and let me get 2 S's. How about you whoop your boss's ass? Not no motherfucking customer. Customer coming in to get some food. Even when you go to places you're going to get to-go shit, them niggas be asking for tips. And now I don't even be feeling comfortable at these fucking places no more. Like, I'm asking for a to-go drink, and then this bitch asks, do you want a tip? Man, fuck no. I be hitting no like a motherfucker. But then I be looking like, man, I hope this motherfucker don't fuck the damn drink, fuck the food up over not tipping them for nothing. You give me some to-go shit. Like, fuck out of here, man. But I get it. It's because the companies don't want to pay people, and the workers ain't about to argue for that shit. And it was just like the rest of the dumbass people in this country when fast food workers are. What has been? It's probably been 10 years now. 10 years ago, the fast food workers on a huge unity walks and shit to get their wages up to like $20 an hour. It was be other people on the other side of shit with their ignorant asses want to be anti that shit, being against fast food workers, demanding that they receive higher increases in their damn wages. And dumb people, man, they ain't doing nothing but flipping burgers. And they ain't gonna do nothing. Now we're gonna be paying more for burgers. You've been paying more for burgers when these companies ain't been raising shit. It's time for people to start shutting their fucking funky ass mouths up. Get out the way of shit. And then oh yeah, he says throwing hands over tips when they should be punching their bosses in their fucking head. Picasso says I cooked some black beans, says, but I ordered sushi rolls, spring rolls, and shrimp fried rice to go with beans. He says I made tuna fish sandwiches last week. Says I made eggs. This nigga Picasso can write some of the most amazingly crazy fucking comments. This nigga giving a breakdown of everything he made, and that food is nasty as fuck to me. Tuna fish is nasty as fuck to me. Says I made eggs, beans, and potatoes for breakfast one morning. What kind of plate you put it on? You put it on paper towel or plate, Picasso? I mean, goddamn. And then Matthew says, let's do a regime change here. It says the fuck for real. Yeah, I agree with that. We definitely need a regime change here. We need a regime change in the FBI, the Secretary of Defense. We need it in the Department of Justice. We need it in the White House. We need it wherever the fuck Trump put people. Get them all the fuck up out of here. And then Rob G and they're rolling Deuce Time and a Billy Salute Cuzzo. And then Picasso's look, Deuce Times is mad as fuck. Nipsey got a damn street, a whole section of Slauson named after him. Deuce is mad. And then Picasso says there's two things that will save you, in my opinion, says while driving. Says just two. Says your speed and you paying attention. Said more paying attention. I think the speed ain't the thing. It's about reckless behavior. The phone is a motherfucker. That's about the most reckless shit I do. Is try to write a text back, and that's a dangerous fucking thing. And I'll be trying to program myself out of doing that shit, not responding, or even sometimes I be wanting to look for a YouTube video to listen to. If it's some kind of shit somebody talking, I'll look down and try to find a video I want to listen to while driving or some shit, or flip through a playlist. And that's the most dangerous shit. It's reckless behavior, not so much drive. I can do that shit driving at 30 miles and can create an accident. But usually if I do that shit, I make sure I got a good distance between the car, but the freeway should be having to worry about the roads making little turns and shit and angling off. But the speed ain't the factor. It's about the reckless behavior and the distracted driver more than that damn speed. But these idiots just want to keep everything slow and low so that way they can easily violate you for breaking speed limits. When they're designing all these cars with bigger engines, being more powerful, that in the cars want to go way above some 60 miles an hour shit. And then some cars are cruise efficient at like the 75 and 80. The fuck they got this 65 shit? That's for the Model T and shit. And then Picasso says it's two things. Oh yeah, I read that one. And it's Silvestri, and I'm about to end this one, folks. Let me see if we can cut back on the comment. Let me get through the comments. Silvestri says, did Trump just take out Iran's leader? Yeah, they smoked that fool. And he says he took out their Pope. And he says says the religious leader says Trump is a capitalist, right? Says capital shit. And then he says the map says okay, respond to that comment with an answer to that. And then Picasso says what kind of car was it, Reggie? Wait, what kind of car was what? Wait, which car? What comment you talking about? And then the one that old boy flipped. I never saw it. I never saw what the car the homie had. And the white dude who he flipped used to be beating white dudes up. He used to hang with us. He's a white dude out of Alabama. I ain't gonna say his name. I be want to say these fools' names, man. I ain't gonna put his name out, but that nigga used to be beating white cats up. I mean, he's a white dude out of Alabama. He didn't like white dudes, but this dude grew up probably around number white folks, probably around races at white folks. And we had a little punk ass white first sergeant who told this dude, because if some of my homies from the army is in the chat, they know that shit. They know exactly what I'm talking about. It was one day he came to us because he started hanging with just the black folks. He didn't act black. He wasn't a white dude that act black at all. And this crazy thing with him, he used to have a problem of beating on bitches. He used to beat bitches up. And you talking about them white folks covering up for a motherfucker? And then guess what? He leave the military as because he never retired. This nigga used to be an alcoholic like a motherfucker. That nigga used to drink and would just bomb on one of them white dudes. Fire on, they wouldn't do shit. He beat the motherfuckers up, all that shit. White dude straight up out of Alabama. This fool get with bitches, beat them the fuck up. They wouldn't do shit. That's why I used to be like, man, I ain't about to put up with none of this shit. Fuck you, because I watch how y'all cover up for these motherfuckers. That's what type of time I was on. So this fool would get drunk, beat motherfuckers up. If it was me, Article 15, all that shit, been kicked out. So, like I said, he used to beat motherfuckers up. This nigga lead the damn military as a sergeant fucking major, homie. He leads the fucking military as a sergeant major. Wait, I think he left as a sergeant fucking major. It's type of like had everything to do with it. That nigga used to do ill shit, but when he used to hang with us all the time, the first song we had told him, why don't you hang? Like he called him in the office overnight. He called me in the office when they was bringing the dude back who went AWOL, who I did basic training with, when they were bringing him back and was telling him to like, not to lose, not to act upset or attack the dude because they're going to let the white dude live back in the barracks while he go through the process rather than putting his ass in jail and kicking him out. You know how they let that white dude back in the barracks? Because they wasn't kicking him out dishonorably. They don't get this dude to where that shit never follow his damn record. And so this motherfucker first sergeant called that white dude in the office to talk to him about that, and then made a comment to him about why he don't hang with his own kind. That shit bugged that white dude because he came back and told us what this first sergeant said about why he don't hang with his own kind. And that nigga used to be beating white dudes up and had all type of issues. But that white dude stole his car and flipped that shit. Because even when I was in basic, he used to be a white dude who I used to think I was gonna have to put hands on. Because I used to tell people when I was like our platoon leader, man, I said, and I used to be always having the issue like them white folks ain't gonna listen when I get some shit from the drill sergeant. I gotta tell the platoon, like, man, when we get back, we can go in that bathroom where ain't nobody at. We can go fight. We can go behind the building when these drill sergeants ain't around, and we gonna fight. Ain't nobody gonna come out there, none of that shit. Or if you run your mouth, I'm gonna bust you in your shit. And I used to be serious on that shit. And them niggas respected me. I was cool, and there's one of the few blacks in that motherfucker. But like I say, I don't do that bowing down because you one of a few. I don't do that shit now. I can go in a whole fucking city full of white folks and act like I own that motherfucker. I walk in that bitch like I'm the governor of that shit. And then but the car, I never seen it. But then they flipped this car and told that dude had just brought that car and told her that shit out. And then Matthew says if people hate America, says maybe America says gave them a reason. Facts. America give every country around the world a reason to hate them. And it be mainly not they hate Americans, it's these fucking rich people who get put in the leadership who are only about their fucking selves. And then Picasso says, I know somebody, he says, that left their car at says at his homeboy's place in Killeen, says, and dude wrecked and told out his car. Says, nice ass car too. Yeah, no, these fools are living on the barracks and shit. And they end up crashing that shit. But that white dude was just always in this shit. I'd be wondering what happened to that fool. Who knows? He probably didn't got a corporate job, all this shit. Like certain white dudes come from certain backgrounds, always given second chances and privileges. They ain't go off and be extreme meth heads for a long time, going to prison and murder a whole town of people and then get put back in a position of getting themselves back on their feet. Robert Downey Jr. shit. And then Patricia Shelton in the building. Salute to the sister Patricia Shelton in the building. And then and Picasso saying, salute to you, Patricia Shelton. Bougie Barbie says you finally showed up. Showed up to do the live. Well, we're supposed to do on the backup channel. Brandon wanted to do the music shit, but that fool passed out again. That nigga old, man. That fool old than a motherfucker. Me, I can't dare get that much sleep. I wish I can, man. I ain't programmed to sleep like that. And Patricia Shelton saying salute to you, Picasso. She's smiling. Matthew F. says, I think Trump says really wants Democrats to win the midterms in 2028. Says so he can blame his own. Says he can blame his own. He can blame his own follow. And Democrat says when it's his own fault, everything is effed up. Yeah, he gonna end up being in here. That's like I got the bet that Trump ain't gonna make it past 2 years. He ain't gonna make the full 4. He gonna get rid of him. He gonna become a lame duck president, if anything. And then Bougie in there saying exactly. Matthew says no matter how hard the donkey works, says it will never own the farm. And that's some real shit. And then Roland Bougie Barbie says, imagine if other industries work that way. Says imagine the doctor says waiting on tips. Exactly. I'll be a dead motherfucker. I sure the fuck wouldn't let me not say that shit. Say I wouldn't tip a doctor. He did a heart surgery on me. Like, fuck you, doctor. You didn't charge me for this overpriced ass heart surgery and then want to tip on top of the shit. Hell no. And then Matthew says in Asia, says I heard, says you don't have to tip. Says disrespectful because they actually get their because they actually get paid to serve you. Says tipping is America, says because of greedy business owners. Yeah, that's only American thing. It's only American thing out of fucking the corporate greed. Who knows? That shit probably started in New York somewhere in Manhattan. That shit definitely sound like some old Manhattan ass shit. It's like, and then that shit just grew as a fucking trend and shit. Like, all right, man. Like I say, other places come in there, they are not accustomed to what tipping is and shit. And then Angie Charles says, because I remember when I worked at damn TSA, they used to put in rules that you could not accept tips and gifts. I had got a damn it was a lighter from Charles Barkley. I had took that motherfucker. I kept that shit for the longest because he couldn't board with that shit, so he gave that shit to me. And so I wasn't even supposed to take it. I kept that shit, like very expensive. I don't smoke or none of that shit. I just kept it. Like, man, this nigga like he paid $100 for this shit. And then I used to be lighting all type of shit with that damn lighter. And then Andrew Charles says, so back when I delivered pizza, says we would blacklist customers, says that didn't tip. See, exactly. I be knowing that shit, that they probably do shit when you don't want to tip. This is the last time I ever ordered a pizza. I ordered a fucking pizza. Did I tip the fucking dude? I might gave him a tip, but this nigga looked like it wasn't enough. I said, man, yo, get the fuck up out of here, man. And never, ever in my life since that fucking day ordered a goddamn pizza. And it was like, man, I'm gonna go. I just go pick up my own damn pizza if I want one. But now I done discovered Whole Foods makes some of the most incredible pizza that I stopped fucking with Pizza Hut. I stopped fucking with my other little pizza joint that had them little artisan pizzas. That small, man, I'm a Whole Foods. I went to Whole Foods today and brought me a bunch of shit. At first, I was gonna go get something to eat. I was gonna go to Fat Burger, and then a light went off in my head. Whole Foods. And I be in Whole Foods acting bougie. I be acting bougie with the other yuppies in there who are actually millionaires. I be in there acting yuppie with them and shit and looking at them like, what are you doing here? I'm looking at them motherfuckers. I be looking at the yuppies who are true yuppies like they don't belong in that motherfucker. And then Picasso says, I be looking at all them people baskets. And I be acting like I'm that nigga from Bikini Faso. I be acting like that nigga in that motherfucker. I act like I'm on Black Royal motherfucker. Fuck you doing here? Because I'm gonna show that level of disrespect to other people. Other people I can be pleasant with. Like I said, I can be cool and I can be an asshole. I can make a rich person feel like he ain't shit. Your money means 2 bits of shit. Y'all got to trick y'all way even to get love from a bitch. That's the crazy shit. And then that's why you never overvalue fucking money. You have that shit because you need that shit. You use money, but never place a overemphasis on that shit. And then just use it to a point where it make you feel good. You can do things. You can buy food, especially. You can buy clothes when you need it. Fill up your car. Buy whatever you want. But never let that shit go ahead. Don't become Floyd with that shit. And then and because it says Tim started with the porters on the trains. That could sound about right. And he says back or even like the other people, but no, that was a pay. But no, even when you go back to like shoe shine people who only work, imagine you shine a nigga's shoe and that motherfucker don't want to tip you. I couldn't imagine doing that shit. Niggas used to like mainly kids used to do that shit. And I guess, and even some people grew into adulthood where they'll work shining people's shoes, the business people shining their shoes for tips or whatever it was. And that shit had to be crazy to come up in the industry because nobody will hire you, that you find hustles like that. Or you sit on the corner as a kid and do paper routes or sell papers to business people as they want to look at the news of the day, the business shit and all that. Like, come on, man. America got a real fucked up system because poor people refuse to educate themselves, get a better understanding how the system works and how to be voices for change in this motherfucker. To be the real voices of change, not to have lobbyists to speak for you, but to have unified people. But we deal with so much of little white people interference and shit because of their prejudice that they learn from church, that they interfere with progression in this motherfucker. We can proceed with shit and then fall back once these motherfuckers come with the scumbaggery they're learning from. And that's the pinpoint of where it comes from, is their churches. And it's sometimes within these schools they have that are predominantly them. And he says, Tippin started with the porters on the train. Says back in the days, says when black folks were working, says this way, says you give them pennies says instead of a fair wage. That sounds about true too, Picasso. Don't forget about that railroad shit. And even with the black folks working, but even like the shoe shining shit back in the day, which is a thing that younger people don't even think about. And then Matthew says tipping in restaurants originated from 17th century England, aristocratic tradition designed to ensure prompt service. That sounds about true too. Says the practice was imported to the United States in the late 19th century, says by rich travelers who brought that shit from over there. Yeah, see, that's a rich people thing. So that's the one thing. Even if I was rich, I don't give a fuck. I had $1 billion in my account. I ain't with tipping over sitting in and dining some shit. I didn't spend all this money, ordered all this shit, the bill big, and then you talking about I gotta give you this shit. And the Bougie Bar says, I love Benihana, says, but I don't tip either. And then Thrill Hill says, Benihana's is Japanese, laugh out loud. Oh, what I call Chinese? Well, one of the same. What's the difference in their food and shit? And then I know they'll take offense to that shit, but it's still fuck Benihana's. I don't fuck with that shit. Ever since the lady did that shit when I wanted to get change. And Picasso says, since I tipped the Uber Eats female driver, says, for showing up, says with tight pants on, says, and watching that booty walking off, says makes me tip extra. Use a trick, homie. Use a trick, and you nasty as fuck. You a nasty ass trick, man. You fucking Uber eat food, man. You crazy as fuck. Ain't no way. The nastiest motherfuckers, the people at Uber eat fucking McDonald's. You's a nasty motherfucker. McDonald's is the shit you gotta eat as soon as that shit come from out the damn window and shit. Let alone wait for these fools who show up late and go. I'll be looking at that shit when I see Uber. I'll be like, whoever ordered this shit is nasty. The food been sitting there for 5 minutes, and McDonald's is food you cannot reheat. Air fryer won't even make McDonald's reheated food. The only thing you can reheat at McDonald's is maybe like a Chick-fil-A sandwich. A Fisher filet sandwich, whatever that shit called from McDonald's. The nuggets and maybe them chicken sandwiches. But any burger and shit from McDonald's reheated is nasty. You are disgusting for eating that shit. And then Bougie says, look at this. Says legal protections. Says if a server tips $2.13 an hour, says do not equal the full state minimum wage. Says the employer is legally required, says, to make up the difference. Says it's $2.13. It's ridiculous. That is foul as fuck. That shit is. I don't even know what the word to think of, that Congress will allow some shit like that. That for people in 2026 for the law to protect people or protect an establishment, paying somebody $2.13 an hour and having tips to make up the difference of that shit is bullshit. On top of them fucking gouging the prices on what you're paying for items and shit. And Rob G says Deuce gonna be at the city council. Says try to get Deuce Drive or Clippers Cove and shit. Man, Deuce is comedy, man. I wish this nigga did more lives and just ranted about shit, man. I'm gonna get this nigga to start doing content. I'm gonna help Deuce to make money on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Cause this nigga is funny, homie. And then Picasso says I use plates, says that look like bowls, says so the food doesn't fall off. Says it's made out of something dealing with bamboo. The hell that comment come from? And Bougie's talking about the ranks. I think I was talking about the homie who left there as a E8. No, E8 is a first sergeant. E7 is a staff sergeant or sergeant first class. No, I think the homie got out as a fucking he got out as an E9 and shit. I think he got out as an E9. That's why I believe that nigga got out. But like I said, he had a fucked up background that if he was me or if I was him and doing the shit that nigga was doing, I would have got kicked out after the first bitch that he beat up. Let alone having multiple bitches he was beating up. Let alone being drunk than a motherfucker. Like these niggas used to drink every day. That's why I ain't into drinking. That's why I don't do drinking and none of that shit. Them niggas in the army used to fucking Master Sergeant, First Sergeant. But no, that's what E8s are, Master Sergeants or First Sergeants. But that nigga was no. Yeah, that is those are those two. And then you got Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Majors, E9. But no, damn, you threw my point off. What I was saying on this shit. Hold on, let me go back. Hold on, give me a second. Yeah, no, but the homie I think he became a goddamn sergeant major with all them damn issues he was having and shit. The alcoholism. Oh, that's what I was talking about. The alcoholism. If I went that comment, but them fools is like alcoholics, bad in that mud. We get off of work and shit, and the first thing these fools is pulling out. They'll pull out cases of beer. These fools always had beer, mainly the white cats. Even some of the black cats. The white cats in the motherfucking army, some beer drinking, alcohol drinking motherfuckers. In mind, we are fucking not even 20 yet. Cans of beer every day. And I mean strong ass beer. What was it? It came out with some beer that had a high alcohol content. Was it? It was some beer that had a high alcohol content that these fools just start drinking and shit. And just every day, I couldn't fuck with that shit. I couldn't drink like that. If I drunk something, it gotta be just regular liquor, like regular, the hard kind of liquor and shit. And it'd be barely a little bit. Once I get buzzed, I know to stop. I don't gotta get drunk. And then we gotta go do PT in the morning. These fools be drinking that fucking beer. We gotta wake up in the morning and do PT. You talking about stinking motherfuckers? And they get drunk, don't wash their ass at night, wake up rushing to PT, stinking, and then beer is sweating out their pores. That is the nastiest shit you can ever smell, is beer sweat from a funky ass dude. It's the nastiest shit in life. And we packed in, running in formation. And guess what? We gonna be running for like 2 to 3 miles. Every day we ran 2 and 3 miles with these stinking ass motherfuckers with beer coming out their pores. And because says when I was in the military, says I was at a point, says where I just straight put hands on says on dudes, says for simple shit. Says just being there, says and dealing with the different people and their attitudes, says I was slapping motherfuckers. And that's what you deal with in the military, because you deal with people going through certain mental health. We young, you dealing with people, young adults who are not learning how to have control of their emotions. They may go through certain mental shit that they bring trauma and these other baggages from home. They come into this environment, dealing with people, dealing with authority or your what do you call these people? I don't even know what the words I'm using for, like your what is it? What do you call like sergeants and shit, or the person in charge of you? But it's another word they use for them. You dealing with that shit and factoring out, man. They talking about volatile motherfuckers. That's why I was saying they used to fight so much at Fort Hood. Fort Hood used to be the most ghettoest shit I ever seen in life. Like even going into like the hood. And then it's funny, I be talking about that 6th Street shit. 6th Street done blew up on Instagram for fights. It's so many. They got Austin 6th Street channel now, and all they show is fights. Bitches fighting, dudes fighting this shit. And that's what I was saying on 6th Street during that Mardi Gras shit, how they was having the big ass fights, but they wasn't fighting like Fort Hood. Fort Hood, where that Muslim officer shot and killed all them people on Fort Hood, that used to be our club called the Sports Dome before that Afghan war kicked off. And so we'll go in their club, and you talking about fights. They play some 3-6 Mafia, any of that Southern shit, that little John, what's that little John shit when doing all that crunk shit? They play any of that shit. You talking about fighting, niggas in there fighting, man, come on, young people full of fucking nothing but high testosterone and needing to get a nut off, and bad bitches in there. You fight for anything. We like animals in that mug. And then Bougie says that's an E9. Says I forgot Army rank. Says yes. Says I was waiting on the music channel. And then the Boxing Scholar says piece of trauma. Hell no, piece of connoisseur. But no, I'll be fucking with that. Oh, you talking about me not ordering the delivery shit? Yeah, I ain't ordering that delivery shit. Niggas think you gotta give them a tip and shit. And Picasso says this exploitation became deeply tied to racism and set the stage for the modern tip minimum wage system. Says copied and paste. Yeah, I can't fuck. So I'm right on this tipping. My viewpoints on tipping is right, homie. I be knowing what's right and wrong, homie. Always been a right and wrong motherfucker. That's why I don't got a fucked up background to me. My name ain't fucked up. That's why I ain't got to use no coded ass name. I ain't got to go by no hood name, hide my name behind this. I can use my actual first and last name because I ain't got no fucked up background out here. That's why I'm probably one of the only niggas on YouTube. Y'all see family on this motherfucker. You didn't see me on here with friends. You didn't see former chicks that fuck with me. All that shit. Because my name ain't fucked up. I keep shit 1,000. And even with some of the white folks who ain't used to hearing the truth, who feel offended sometimes by it, but then realize like, damn, that nigga ain't racist at all. He ain't none of that shit. Just like my old white roommate. That's why I even had the picture of the white dude I was talking about. The old white roommate, Zastapool. So he ever watched this shit, he know what I'm talking about. This fool to the far right, that's who my roommate was and shit. Who ended up telling me that shit, what these fools told me and shit. And so, oh yeah, let me show. I got some more orange photos. This the homies. That's the 1st CAD division. Warhol, our barracks is directly across the street from. These aren't our barracks, the barracks on the other side of this one, but we walk directly across the shit. That's the cab right there. And where we did our formation for PT every morning. Like, man, come on. Real motherfucking soldier, man. Real military soldier. And them is all vets. And most people look at these black dudes and view them as gang members. That's why I used to not respect people when they say, oh, thank you for your service and all that shit. Because outside them damn military uniforms, you look at us, and the first thing people want to say is these some old gang members, these some thugs, and want to make judgments and shit. So when people be like, thanks for fighting for our freedom, or wearing that uniform off outside of duty, you'll never catch me off base in the motherfucking army fatigues and all that shit. I try to maintain as much attachment to this fucking civilian world as possible, because I gave 2 fucks about some motherfucker walking up talking about thanks for your fucking service. Like when I was in Kentucky, we got to go into Louisville towards the end of our basic training and shit. But we had to wear our fucking uniforms and shit. And I'm walking into the Louisville Mall, and it's this couple, this older couple, and you can tell they like the little backwood motherfuckers who think negatively of black folks if they seen us dressed, like I say, us right here. And most people pass the same kind of little stigma and judgment of how they view black folks. You seen us young black folks, we in our 20s and shit. I'm probably 19 in this shit. And looking at us, and the first thing people would think, dang, this your homies from the hood and this and that. No, motherfuckers, these are fucking soldiers. These are all military soldiers, not no gang members, not none of that other shit that people have been programmed to think about young black folks. These niggas could be engineers, all type of shit. These ain't gang members. These are motherfucking U.S. military fucking soldiers. We ain't like the little white kids and none of that other shit. Now the white kids can do some of the despicable fucking shit, dress and look however they look in society, and people don't pass these stigmas on them. Not even black people who can pass the same judgment white people do. We don't do that shit. And that's the cold shit. So I would never wear that uniform. But the one time we had to wear that shit when we went to Louisville they gave us like a 3-day pass. We got like 2 weeks left before we graduate basic. And so we down there, and I met a couple. We getting out the little vans that transport us. I forgot them vans on Fort Hood. Those vans on Fort Knox. They used to be called. It wasn't little vans. Anybody was at Fort Knox? They used to have them shuttle vans that take you through Elizabethtown, and then you go over into Louisville. And so when we getting out the van, I'm the only black person. Everybody else in my group, we travel in groups. Everybody in my group is white. They walk in there and there are people like, thanks for fighting for our freedom and all this other shit. The other cat's saying thank you, man. I walk right by them white folks. And he's like, hey, I want you ain't gonna say thank you. I said, fuck no, I ain't saying nothing to them. Because if I was dressed in some regular shit, they'll probably be moving far away, making judgments, all that shit. I said, I don't want to hear that fake ass shit. I don't want to hear that fake ass shit, because the real people fighting for freedom is activists, not no U.S. soldiers. Soldiers, we just getting pimped out on orders for some old rich ass scumbag that have made it to the fucking White House. Simple as fucking that. And then and Mikasa says I don't eat at McDonald's, says or not I don't. You mean you haven't ate at McDonald's for 20 years, says, and I tried going back, says, for the fish sandwich, says, but I threw up, says, and never went back again. I can't eat a McDonald's burger. I used to fuck McDonald's fucking those cheeseburgers, that 2 cheeseburger meal and shit. Oh man, I used to love that shit. Now, if I ate that shit, man, that shit have fucked me up. And I think what fucked me up was the one time I ate that shit. This is on the road trip. We driving back to Cali. Dang. This is with me and my kids' mom. We didn't even have our kids yet. And so we driving to one of her friends' house. I think her friend was having a baby or baby's first birthday. So I'm riding with her. And so fucking, I go to McDonald's, nigga. I get the McDonald's, man, that burger ran through me, nigga. I had the shit bad. Oh, that burger fucked me up. And now we on this road because we took this little long one road. We going to Santa Clarita. And so they got a construction going on a one lane fucking road. It's back the fuck up, taking a long time. I'm in there holding this shit. And we come up to this one little area where they have like a little traveler stop, little station and shit. Everybody in the bathroom needing to use the bathroom. Nigga, I got a shit. I go in this bathroom. It's looked like one of them old crazy motherfuckers out of prison and use this shit. Like, well, you know how they be showing in prison them crazy people that smear shit all over the wall and shit. That's what this bathroom was. Nigga, I felt so. At first, I go in that shit like, what the fuck? Now I'm always throwing out, leave that shit like, nah, fuck, I'm gonna hold this shit. As soon as I walked out that store, start walking back to the car, I had to turn back around and go in this motherfucker. I swear to God, I thought I had an STD just from going in that store because I had to shit over that shit. I was like, that shit was the nastiest shit. The health department should have shut this place the fuck down. But from that thing, I never had a cheeseburger from McDonald's again. I just couldn't like them. I didn't like them no more. And I think that bathroom and the day I had that burger, like never again. Like that shit, I tried a cheeseburger made after that shit and had to throw all that shit away. I couldn't stomach that shit no more. I can't eat a McDonald's burger for shit. Just off of that experience of mine. That shit had to be over 12 years ago. Yeah, my kids 12, they wasn't here. That shit 12 years ago. And then in the Bougie Barbie says, so basically he said they but like McDonald's burgers, I can eat fat burgers and all them other places. I don't eat none of them old rinky dink fucking fast food spots burgers. Wendy's, no Jack in the Box, no none of they gotta be Fat Burger, Five Guys, like where they cook real burgers. And the Bougie Barbie says, so basically says they have to be paid federal minimum wage. Sorry, says it can come from you or me, says, or it can come from the restaurant. And then Picasso says E8 is a master sergeant. Yeah, no, I think the homie left out it as a fucking sergeant major, I believe it was. And then Picasso says 4 up, says 4 up, 4 down, says with a start. You mean 3 up, 3 down, not 4. It says the star in the middle. That's the sergeant major. And then you have the reef, the ones with the star, the reef around the stars, the command sergeant majors. But no, it's 3 up, 3 down, not 4. And then Bougie Bari says E8 says senior master sergeant in the Air Force. And then Bougie Bari says be covered in beer, says it smells sweaty on top of it, says funky. Yeah, them some of the funkiest motherfuckers. It be mainly them rural ass kids that be doing that beer drinking shit. And you talking about some drinking motherfuckers, man. Them some drinking ass dudes, man. And Picasso says, that's all we did. That's all we did in there. Reggie says in San Antonio, says before SEAL, says they snuck crack or snuck crack or cane in there. It says you would see 2 dudes, says fighting in slow motion, says in the whole barracks, says start fighting with them. Man, we was getting the drug addicts too. My unit, that's to be suspected. They were sending in undercovers in our unit, which I don't know how true that was, or if that was some little bluffing tactic to try to get people out of doing. They was doing all type of like underworld shit in my unit. Like that's what I'm saying, man. That for Hood 212 Cab was like one of the dopest units. That's why they got a 212 Cab Facebook page. People still be, I don't know how to connect people on there now, but we was like in that time period from when I was there, 2000 to maybe 2002 when I got out, 2003. And then outside of that, man, I was like the dopest unit probably in military history, to be honest. Like that was the dopest time. Even though we divided a little bit, this and that, the experience still was dope. All the crazy shit that went on in there and shit. Somehow, you know, the military weird like that. You be divided racially, but then have some kind of connection and shit. Like that shit was just a dope ass unit, a real dope ass unit. Then they start moving people around. The unit ended up being taken off of Fort Hood, going to fucking where did RCAP? We went to where they ended up moving that division. They moved that battalion. Sorry, they moved that battalion to like fucking Colorado. Then it ended up back at Fort Hood. Many people done bounced around from there and shit. But when I was in there, that was like the dopest time in there, even with the shit we was in. And then Picasso said, because we just had great cast of characters in there and shit. And then Picasso saying true. Picasso says they took us around. So they took us around on base, says in the cattle truck. Yeah, we did too. Says we packed up in the trailer, says back to back. Yeah, and there, I mean, I used to be claustrophobic the first time I used to hop in them little trucks, they pack us in like sardines and shit. And you just be sitting on your rucksack, rocking, no seats, no nothing. That was some bullshit ass way. That's how much they don't give a fuck about soldiers. When we first start getting transported like that, like cattle and shit, and most civilians don't know that shit. I'm glad you said that shit, Picasso. They don't even know that shit. They'll be like, get in there, pack in, move all the way to the front. And you in there, what they call it, ass and elbows and shit. You packed all the way in there, sitting on top of a rucksack, no seat, and they could be driving on dirt road, and you just sitting on here trying to balance yourself with the little flimsy gate on the side of the damn truck. A flimsy gate is all that stop you from falling out. Sometimes them gates be bent and all that other shit. They lock you in with that shit. And you may be driving down the highway in trucks like that, sitting on no seat belts, no nothing, distracted. That's how much they don't give a fuck about a soldier, man. Them motherfuckers ain't shit with that military shit. Because guess what? Most soldiers don't come from these old silver spoon backgrounds. And the student from above says, I can enjoy a Big Mac, says, but only like once a year. Then I wouldn't even know. I never had a Big Mac in my life. Never in life, because they put that damn spread on. I don't like mayonnaise looking shit. And then Picasso says Wendy's chicken sandwich meal says had me in the snow, says on the side of the mountain, says somewhere up north, says I was throwing up, says shitting in the snow, man. It did no, who used to have a bomb ass chicken sandwich? Was it Wendy's? Yeah, it was Wendy's. Because we used to have one next when I was at Enterprise. They used to have a banging ass chicken sandwich. Yeah, I think that was Wendy's. They had that shit. Better than that shit. What's that overhyped shit? Chick-fil-A, some overhyped ass shit. Wendy's had like the best one. Picasso says, he says they have cameras in the barracks. Says if you didn't know. When I was in there, they didn't. When I was in there, they didn't. They probably booby trapped my shit with one, thinking I was gonna beat up my roommate. And then Picasso says at the sign of your life to the country, says you are a soldier, with a battery in your back. And but that's all I got, folks. Like I said, I was in there when September 11th happened. I thought we was gonna go to war over that shit. Thank God my enlistment. Thank God I told that motherfucking, because I would have, like I say, I'll be serving prison for the rest of my life. I was in there. They would have gave me a long sentence. They would have sent me to war with these punk ass people they got in there, because they got the wrong people in there. And the fact that the military don't address shit, you get bitch ass people like Trump who want to play like the shit don't exist, talking all this end of DEI pussy ass shit because he a punk rock head bitch and he don't realize none of this shit. And then they got all these incompetent ass white dudes. He constantly moving through the system while he complaining about some DEI shit that Trump ain't never worked a job in his fucking life because his immigrant ass parents came over here and got an immigrant motherfucking passage through the American system that they never built nothing in. So it's as simple as that, keeping it funky with the whole. But the fact these fools ain't never done nothing in life, And then the fact that being in there during September 11th, and the fact that the wars that end up lasting for 22 something years off of Bush's actions because of September 11th and shit, and almost being sent to that war during that time period. And the only way I got out of that shit and the timing of everything, not even knowing this shit ever happened, was right before I signed that damn enlistment. I asked that question, damn, do I gotta do 4 years? That motherfucker could have lied to me and said, yeah, my name been right on that bitch. Nigga, I've been right over in motherfucking the thick of shit, because my unit was in the thick of that damn Afghan and Iraq shit. Like I asked that shit, I got out a year. No, I got a few months before that shit popped off. But when we was in it with September 11th, man, I thought we was definitely rolling out. Hell, when Israel popped off some shit earlier, before September 11th, I thought we was gonna be in that shit. And the Bougie Bar says, you service connected? Yeah, I'm service connected. I got a little percentage on that shit. Yeah, I got a little percentage on that shit. But yeah, that's all I got on this mug. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Maybe we do a music shit tomorrow. But I'll catch you guys. Peace. We out.